reason why I don't do intros. Everyone, this is episode number 30. I'm Arthell Isom.
I'm Henry Thurlow.
This is our vlog and our topic for today. What's our topic for today?
I'll do the intro next time, guys.
Yeah, our topic for today. Actually, our topic for today is from one of the people who watch our vlogs. I don't know if they're our fans, but at least they watch our vlogs. Anime Busters, and from Anime Busters, they asked the question. I think I'm not sure if their name is if it's like official Anime Busters or just Anime Busters, but their question is: are more expectations placed on your shoulders since you're not from there? And I think they're not specifically only talking about me. I think they're talking about our company in general. And
so we're foreigners working in the Japanese anime industry, which
Yeah.
recently they've been using more freelance artists internationally. But generally speaking, this is pretty much 99.999% Japanese people only industry, right?
Yeah.
And has been historically that. So all of a sudden we're here. The question is, are what is it, more of a weight put on our shoulders?
Put on our shoulders, and then
expectations.
our reviews and criticisms harsher. So I thought that was really good. That's a really good topic and a really good question. Those are good questions from Anime Busters. So thank you. Thanks for watching our vlogs, and thanks for your question. So what do you think, Henry?
What do I think? Well, you and I have talked about this in the past. I actually think once we got in the industry, people were quite supportive. It's not, if they make a movie about this, I don't think it should be that we get in and then there's nonstop racism against us.
It's like drama every day just to get to the door.
Now getting into the industry was very hard. The interview process, there was a lot of doubt in that. Oh no, does the person across the table from me even speak my language, Japanese? But then, so I think that process was hard. The convincing that we could get into the industry.
Yeah, and both of us have our stories with that. Right. Well, obviously Henry just came here to work. I went to school here, but for me to go to school, I had to convince him that.
Yeah, you're entering the school story would be similar. Right?
Yeah, Henry had to enter the industry, right?
So that was difficult, but it should be difficult. We're trying to get a job on the other side of the planet without a necessarily proper visa, at least from day one, right? And then we had to prove language and everything, right? Yeah. But once in the industry, I think people were quite supportive. I think people were like they were like, "Oh, you're working here? He speaks Japanese? Oh, well," and then would start talking and be like, "Oh, cool. Well, let's draw some doga together and for you backgrounds, right?" So now, I think we probably put expectations on ourselves, right? Because now I don't want to be the worst one in the room. If I'm above and beyond the worst person in the room, what a unfortunate signal I'm sending, right?
Unfortunate series of events.
Yeah. Well, obviously then it'd be like, oh, as expected in Japanese, sasuga. As expected. Sasuga, the foreigner is not as good as we thought.
Yeah, the foreigner can't hold his weight, or is that the expression? Can't hold.
Yeah, I think
hold your own weight or something like that. And then like Henry said, once you get there, but this I think all foreigners probably, and if you haven't experienced travel yet, once you immigrate to another country for a long period of time, I'm not talking about vacation because that's different, but I think all foreigners will experience that. It's like once you're somewhere, then it's weird because you put this own weight on your shoulders that now you're trying to integrate into that new community and culture or whatever, and so you don't want to be you don't want to be. You don't want to be looked down upon, and then you kind of feel like you're like a diplomat for your own country and culture and people and everything.
And I'm going to just keep it 100 here. I think as an American, it's even a little bit harsher just because of the massive, to be honest, embarrassment I feel about a lot of our diplomats or tourists around the world, right? And so if the stereotype is the American is loud and rude and doing all this stupid stuff and not going to pay attention to your rules. They'll demand you speak their language, but not vice versa. If that's the impression that I give off the second I say, "Oh, I'm from America," then all the more I want to be like, no, check out what a real diplomat is, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what we really can do and how polite we can be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know how hard workers we are and things like
Yeah.
that, right? And so there's that weight and there's that kind of pressure that you put on yourselves, right? So there's the norm because I feel like the industry of Japan itself just puts the normal pressure on you, right? They just put the same pressure that they're gonna put on. They don't put more pressure on you because you're a foreigner. Oh, you're a foreigner. We're gonna give you 10,000 times more work than we give the Japanese. That doesn't happen. They don't do that. And like they're gonna give you the same amount of work they give the Japanese.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
which is
which is a lot of work. But
Yeah.
like and so they're gonna. But that's
Yeah.
normal, right? And so. Although, like, and then I will say there's some. I mean, I've heard some stories where it's like they give foreigners less work. And so,
I kind of feel like so okay, I'll tell us two quick stories, both from the first place I worked. That people already know, but I'll let it go nameless now because but actually there's a positive story and a negative story. I'll give both. So the and who it's positive and negative to kind of changes. Okay, so the one story is when I was working there, it's a super harsh studio. You have to, do tons of work and stay for as long as you need to, et cetera, et cetera. And I was working here, and a newbie Japanese artist was working next to me. And the I guess room kind of head came over to the Japanese artist, and I heard their conversation, right, because they were right next to me, and the conversation basically was like the Japanese artist being like, oh man, I'm really sorry, I'm not going to get done with these 3 drawings today or whatever, and then like the head of the room really ripped into the guy like crazy. He was like, well, it's due before you leave. Like you wanted to get into this industry. That's what you have to hand it in. This is this.
Yeah.
And he's just like, but if I don't make the last train in 30 minutes, then I have to stay until morning. He's like, well, then you need to learn what this industry is about. It means you're staying until the morning. Right? And so the guy was like,
that boss sounds like you had it right.
But no. But he was really yelling at the guy, right?
Yeah,
because he was just like, "Please, I'd like to go home," and he's like, "You're not going home," right? It was like, God, that's crazy.
Get the cuffs out.
And eventually the guy messaged, I guess, his family or something. Sorry, I'm not coming home tonight. And then he stayed, and he did, right?
Yeah.
Now I think they knew not to even yell at me like that, right?
Yeah.
And I think probably that is, let's say, foreigner, not privileged, because obviously we're not privileged in Japan in any way, shape, or form. But that would be one of the rare cases where, to be honest, I think I did have it just a little bit better, even as a foreigner, because I think that level of disrespect he, for one reason or another, probably wouldn't want to do to the American in the room, let's say, right? So in that sense, maybe I had it a little bit better in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
The negative story, and I hesitate to say this one. I think maybe I told you this one. I don't want to play the victim or have to see it, and then the news will post this as if it's a big thing, and that's why Henry's ranted about an occasion of. I've encountered almost no racism here in Japan. Very, very rare. Two or three little stories and minor things, nothing big, right? One, but this is at the end of the day, it's a positive for the studio, to be honest. At the same studio, I was getting in. So we would draw the in-between sequences and then send them back to the main studios, right? And one production, I'll leave it. It was a little show that only airs in Japan. It's like a kids show. I'll even say it's called Ojaru Maru. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I never even heard of it until I worked on it, actually, because it's like a little kid. The character design's like this weird little thing. It's super simplistic though, and that's important to keep in mind. The character's like this super simplistic little like smiley face kind of thing. And so, I was doing in-betweens for Gundam stuff and handing them in. And I was still a newbie, obviously, so I would get retakes occasionally. But then I would just do the retake, hand it in, and then it was fine, right? So this Ojaru Maru thing, though, I drew, and it was a super simple sequence. Like the character lifts his head or turns to the side or something like that, right? It's super, super simple. Handed it in, came back with a retake. But the retake had like a memo on it, too. Like, what are you thinking? This is terrible. Like, are you really a in-between animator, like this is nothing, right? But the head of the room passed it back to me. And in fairness, I'm not saying anything about the Ojada like company either, because I don't know who the correction person was. That could have been a freelancer as well, right? But it went to some artist who sent it back a retake. Now I'm still a newbie. Occasionally I get retakes. So the first time the guy just hands it back to me, right?
Okay.
And then I'm like, I don't really know what's wrong, but maybe they didn't like this one drawing or something. So here, let me crisp up the lines or whatever, right? So then I do that, hand it back, and it comes back. And again, and it's just like, this is an embarrassment. You do it again, whatever, right? And like really like harsh, right? In Japanese,
like
but
yelling at you on the
no,
page.
he is, right? And so I asked the head of the room, and he's just like. And he's looking at it. And usually this is the guy who's super harsh. He's the guy from the story I just told you about, right? Yelling at this guy. He's a harsh guy. But even he was like, maybe they mean that the hat needs to be a little bit more like the sete or something, and there's just no correct, or the model sheets. And let's do that, Henry. And I'm like, okay, fine, right? But then it comes back, and it's just like, why are you even here? What are you doing? And then it kind of occurred to me, like, the only thing this person knows about me is my name. Because my name is, I have to write it down. They've never met me. They're not a person in this, right? So they see a non-Japanese name, and I think then they sent that back. But so then I showed that to the guy. I was like, it came back again, and here's the message it came with. And he was just like, and it was keep in mind, this is a harsh guy, and he's usually yelling at me and the people. And this time he was like, I'm really sorry, Henry. Like, I'm sorry that you got this. You did this correct, like no, but like he kind of got it at that point. This is what this guy's doing. He got super pissed and was like today you can go home early, like you did a great job. But the point is, they don't put up with that, right? The one and only time in this whole industry that happened, and again, it's not a horror story. It's just like I was inconvenienced for one day doing a couple retakes, right? But the one time. People were right there to defend and not put up with that, right? So, I don't think the industry is trying to put extra burdens on your shoulders. And if they see something like that happening, they really they do not accept that.
Correct it and straighten it out. Yeah, so with that said, so we don't get the... so obviously that's a crazy story. I've never actually experienced that where, like, people saw my name or something like that. But at least like Henry said, they're on our side, right? And so with that said, like we haven't really experienced those the extra pressure, right? Or something.
Last comment, in Japan, I would say at this point we've even proven ourselves to most studios. We haven't worked with every studio, but we've worked with a lot, and they now trust us to a massive level and pass us work whenever. So. I would say we've already proven ourselves, and they don't put any additional pressure on us. They're happy to work with us and even contact us proactively.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's but of course, for every great positive story, there's a negative side of the story now. But so we have I will say our studio's antagonists are not in Japan.
Yeah. We're the studio that works internationally, right? Very often. So yes, we work on the Japanese productions, and the stories I just told were when we were just 100% working on those. But we're often working with Western production studios and people and clients and things, right? And never in Japan, not by Wit Studio, not by Piero, not by all of these studios that we're constantly handing stuff into, right? We recently worked on Fire Force, right? Some secondary key animation, not from David Production on official anime Fire Force, but from Western places. We get, this anime? I don't think you guys are doing it right. You don't understand
the production. It's not even the Western companies. It's more like just the fans or something. Or I don't even know. But
that's where we get it from. We get the criticism of, I don't think you guys are doing it right, and I don't know if you belong in that industry. A percentage from not the actual Japanese industry people, but the foreign fans and artists and things. Yeah.
But of course, we preface this story with Americans know everything, and
right,
I guess that's what it is.
Well, it's not totally unrelated. It's an attitude. It's
it's like everything. But I will say that the extra pressure that we have is that because but even though whatever, so there is that pressure, and we try to we're in the industry where our one of our goals is to make our fans happy, right? Like we want our fans to be happy. We want them to appreciate our work and like our work. And even though we are appreciated here and people will say, "Oh, your work is anime," the when we do get the messages that say, "Oh, they are like this isn't anime enough." Or I got a message and this kind of a downer, but like, I got a message from a few of our white followers.
Oh dear, not
and,
them.
Yeah, not them.
That's bad news.
And like
you don't want to mess with those people.
Yeah, you
don't
don't mess with them. You don't mess with. No, but they were just like, oh, I hope you what did they say? Like, oh, look, black people are gonna ruin anime now. Like, we get comments like that.
Are you 100% sure they were right? Because I can see a lot of people saying that, to be honest.
yeah, that's true. But
Unfortunately,
these people were specifically
okay.
Yeah. And then we even screenshot it there, but we're not gonna put them on blast. But we did take screenshots of your Twitter accounts and things. So, if you keep with your hate, we might have to. But like. I'm not for canceling people.
That ironically kind of goes into what is it? A couple episodes back, we were talking about that we realistically are a super diverse studio, right?
Yeah.
It's like that comment doesn't even make sense, kind of on its face. Like black people are gonna ruin anime. Well, okay, but like that sequence right there was done by all Japanese people, right? So it was just produced that day. So it doesn't even make sense.
Working on it. But like, yeah, but but we do want our fans, and even the haters. Like I'm kind of different with Henry. Like like haters. I'm like, cool, whatever. Haters make you stronger.
Oh no, that's not different. We agree. I love the hate. No, come out. What is it? Yeah. Come and get me, bro. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Let's do it.
Come at me. And so like so our goal is to try to make them not haters, right? Like to make you guys like our work. Or to have you like our work and to have you appreciate our stuff. And so when we get those messages, like, we read through them and figure it out. And, and then we just try our best to make sure that what we're putting out there is the content that people can say, oh, this is great, or this is anime, or this studio is legit. Like, and so when we see comments like that, we're like, okay, cool, like, we want another one over, or like so. I think that pressure.
I don't. Yeah, I actually don't care about the haters at all. The come at me, bro. Right, with the haters. But when it's fans actually that are still skeptical, though, that's where I hope we can prove ourselves. In coming projects and things, because I want the attitude to not be those guys are trying so hard, bless their heart, but they're not quite making anime yet, right? Like our friends and colleagues and studios here in Japan don't even feel that way. So, I kind of wish it was just a done deal, like we're the Japanese anime studio that happens to be run by, not Japanese people. And then just boom, full stop, as opposed to the asterisks and the did you know but and they're getting better but they're not there yet. Like things like that, I'm like, well, hopefully we'll make people proud, as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I think to answer your question, Anime Busters, I think that we get more pressure from foreigners and from fans and the weeaboos.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys are calling yourselves?
That's still, I mentioned it in the previous one, that still came to be after my time.
Yeah, so we're out here, so I'm kind of, they say, hey, okay, boomer, whatever. But like,
we're not boomers.
Yeah, I don't know. Call yourself whatever you want. But, like, I don't know. It's not a Japanese word. So
my dad's a boomer. How can two generations be a boomer?
Hey, boomers. But like, anyway, so yes, so there's that. And thank you for the question, Anime Busters. It was a great question. Everyone, please comment. Tell us what you guys think about that and what you guys, like whatever your comments are. Let's talk about it.
Cool. Shtajio.
See you next time.
Peace. Bye.